I was at Paramount doing it, and they put the show on a big screen, and you're reading off the lines. And wait, there's a point to this. There's a point to this. Oh, it made so much sense. We were talking about Garcia.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gemma from Gemma Watches Stuff, and today on the podcast we have our very special guest, Kirsten Vangsness. Welcome so much. I appreciate you taking time to come on board Zoom and have a chat with me today.
Oh, I'm excited to do it. Thanks for having me.
I got your list of topics because the way
Yes.
this podcast works is beforehand, before we press record, is we communicate, we set up time, we organize what we're going to do, and you send me a list of 5 topics, anything that you are comfortable to talk about. And I got your list, and they're fantastic.
Oh, good.
All of them. How am I going to narrow this down to pick just one? Because I read through these and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a cracker of an episode. It's going to be so good.
Oh, good.
And I think the hardest part, I love the setup. I love the setup, and I love getting to know people through the topics that they choose. And yours were no exception to that rule. They're absolutely fantastic. And the hardest part for me is then going through and picking which one that we're going to dig into. But the
Oh,
one,
don't worry, Gemma, because I will weave whatever I want into it, and we'll still stay on topic because I am, if nothing, if not circuitous. So
love that.
yeah.
We are all about the chaos here. This channel is all about the chaos. So we've definitely had
Hey,
a few episodes that have totally derailed from the original topic, but I'm all for that. I love a good amount of little chaos in there. So that's totally fine. Um, we're going to start though and see where we end up with lessons on Penny Garcia's anti-authoritarianism. Big words.
oh,
You're hitting me with big words straight out the gate.
oh, okay. So I believe that Penelope Garcia, for people who know the Penelope Garcia lore, if you're like, what is she talking about? And you watch this, you listen to this podcast, I play a character on a show called Criminal Minds, and it's one of those what they call procedural dramas. So it's one of the it's sometimes in America we call it propaganda, meaning like it sort of glamorizes law enforcement, but in the FBI there is this actual group of like behavioral analysis people who study behavior of serial killers, usually people who do stuff basically like monsters are created by monsters. So you like go into like the human behavior of why someone would do something reprehensible. And I play a computer analyst on that show. So if you think about any show that has one of those characters, so like in Alias, it was they had that guy Marshall Mitchell. What's wrong with me? That guy.
Uh-huh.
You
Right.
know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Starts with an M, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was Abby in NCIS. There's always one, right? Mason Alexander Park played one on Quantum Leap. Like there's always one. You could say that maybe Miss Moneypenny in because Garcia's like a amalgam of like a technical analyst and also that sort of character, sort of like everybody's little sidekick. Everybody's like, I brought you tea. I'm going to say a funny thing. So I play this character on Criminal Minds. Some of you are like, we know. But in this character, she is my neighbor, meaning I'm not her. I can't type. Penelope can type like more words per minute than anybody. I understand computers more than the average bear. I just hosted last night the engineering Emmys in America. And I can absorb technical information probably better than most people because I've been playing a technical analyst for a long time. This show has been on for 19 seasons. So I feel like I know her very well. Now, if we go into the lore of this character I play, Penelope Garcia, she she was a hacker and decided that she didn't like the way that companies were hurting animals. So she started going into cosmetic companies and destroying their code. She doesn't like when people do anything cruel. She doesn't like it when people overreach their power. And she got folded in to the FBI. Otherwise, they were going to arrest her. So this was like a long time ago. So they were like, you either come work for us or we arrest you. And she decides to come work for them. But she has her own set of standards about like, this is what I have decided I need. Now, like most adults, as you go, you take on a job, you take on a big person job, and you get, I don't know, things that you get when you get a job. She made some, she got more flexible. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, that person is in charge and this person is my friend, but also in charge and whatever. And, and then she's working, and her job's really important. So we've all had that job where like we let it burn us out. We work, 80 hours a week and just doing our thing because we know it's so helpful. And we don't necessarily, it's not necessarily as one of my favorite books, The Big Leap says, it's not necessarily, it's in your zone of excellence. So everyone else says, wow, you're really amazing at it, but you're exhausted at the end of the day. It's not in your zone of genius, which is like, that's the thing you could just do forever. And it actually gives you energy. So she's like kind of tapping herself out energetically. She doesn't really have great boundaries. She's able to, and she doesn't do well with violence. And by the way, this show is one of the most violent shows you'll possibly watch. I have co-written 5 episodes of it. I have seen maybe 7 episodes of it. And there are currently 364 episodes that exist, just to give you an idea of the situation. So Penelope, are you with me still, Gemma?
Oh, 100%. We're in it. Let's
okay.
go. Yeah.
So Penelope, like has been doing all of this and everything's been fine. I would say up until, I don't know, maybe 9 years ago or something like that, maybe 8 years ago. And then there's like a disturbance in the force and she's working through it, but it's making her like more and more and more like burdened and unhappy and whatever. And then but she's always run to the beat of her own drum. That's another reason why I think we're neighbors. I don't dress like her, but I still dress strange. You know what I mean? I went to a Chapel Roan concert on Saturday with my friends and everyone went, and I'm 53. And so some of my friends are 53 and some of them aren't, and whatever, we're a range of ages. And we all show up and I'm wearing what I had put together, which was a Marie Antoinette dress that I had cut off that was supposed to be a costume, but I never, even when I bought it on clearance somewhere, never intended for it to be a costume because it's too cute of a dress. There'll be a lot of ribbons involved. Then I have this other thing that I kind of cut the bottom off and made into sort of a corset. My point was, when I walked up, everyone was like, oh, Kirsten, no one went like, what are you wearing? It's so not like you. Because if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So if you just stay like, this is my authentic self, which I have kind of been since I think I was probably like in 3rd grade, where I figured out like, I don't fit in, so I got to do it this way. Even though I'm kind of rulesy, but I'm rulesy if the rules make sense. Meaning like I don't I like walking across a crosswalk when I'm supposed to. I like doing things like that. I like spelling the word there correctly. Like I like things like that. But my point is, Penelope is similar to me in that way. She's sort of like, she doesn't subscribe. She dresses for herself. She doesn't dress for the male gaze. She dresses, she consumes art and produces, I would argue, as much art as she consumes, or tries to keep that balance. She is engaged in community. She works at nonprofits. She belongs to clubs. She has baking groups. Then the pandemic happened. She's one of those people who was like, I can't let this bury me. And she's also probably, I'm definitely an ambivert, meaning like no one believes that I'm an introvert. Everyone thinks I'm an extrovert. I'm just very good at talking to people, but like I do not recharge by hanging out with people. You know what I mean? That's not my thing. Cats maybe, but not people. We have that in common. And we probably both have a large collection of vibrators. We have that in common. So there are things we have in common, so the pandemic happens and Penelope goes through this, I think, a massive change and realizes that, the calls are coming from inside the house, meaning, yeah, there's all this scary happening out there, but she had this job that was scary. She quit that job. She's gone to do something that is more like, that she thinks is like kind of like not as gross at all. And then is like, wait a minute, I'm still as anxious as I was still, oh my gosh. And she starts going through this. And in the process of upheavaling her insides, I think she came through some sort of like, wait a minute. I was like giving myself away to all these people. I was like trying to look for the right person to date to like fulfill me. Like, I need to like make the inner garden of myself beautiful for me. And then like kind of starts doing this. So as a result of that, she was already like on the fringe of like, and then she comes back. By the way, if you have never watched Criminal Minds, we're now at the reboot.
Spoiler
Right here
alert.
is
We're there. We're there.
we hit the reboot right now. So when she comes back, because she ends up, spoiler, coming back to this job that she works with these people, she's like, I will come back, but I have to keep filling my tank. And as a result, and I think that me and her have this in common, um, realize that like, oh, it's not enough. It's it's not enough to, you know, I don't know. It's not enough to vote. It's not enough to, be aware of issues. We almost have to like thank the powers that be that are exercising that are behaving abhorrently, because what they are doing, I think in Penelope Garcia's world, it's the killers and these people that are doing these awful things. But I think it could be anybody. That you realize that those people, it's awful what they're doing. Their behavior is reprehensible. Human beings are not reprehensible. We were all babies. We are all just human beings, right? But people's behavior is reprehensible. And that reprehensible behavior, to witness it, has cracked open her heart. She has allowed it to crack open her heart and make her aware of how much compassion she is capable of. Because having not witnessed that, she cannot realize, oh my gosh, these jerks who have done this awful stuff have single-handedly opened my eyes to things that I would never before have been aware of. So thank you for that. And now we have to go do the inconvenient work, especially for someone like Penelope or Kirsten, or I think a lot of people, especially for people who are sort of ambiverts, who kind of just want to have their little baking club in there, whatever. And then they realize, oh my gosh, community is inconvenient. Neighborhoods are inconvenient, and she also is her whole job is computers. So to realize that like, oh, I have to like go touch grass and be with people. And that's really all that matters. And what I love about Penelope is that Penelope's braver than me. Penelope cares. She's more afraid sometimes than I am, but she actually can do really brave things when she's really, really afraid. And for me to get to like be her neighbor inside my body, and because I played her for so long, and to get to know that or like play around in that playground, of that, it's like, gosh, if you can imagine someone like that, then it reminds you that there are real people out there that are scared and do really brave stuff anyway, and that all of us can be really scared and do really brave stuff anyway. And that I want so I think that's what we need now. We need to remember that we need to be ungovernable. We need to not just more than obey in advance, but in the words of John Oliver, am I allowed to cuss?
Go for it. 100%.
Okay. In the words of John Oliver, fuck you, make me. And because no one can make her be cruel. You know what I mean? No one can make her be intentionally cruel. And she's also really okay with mistakes. She's really okay with being imperfect, which I think I'm trying to do things correctly, and I'm almost always making mistakes. So I have to be flexible with that. But I also think that is why she's a good like signpost for that, is that imperfection, like do your best. It's not going to be perfect. None of us are going to be perfect, especially as white people, when we try to interface with our own racism, especially when, like I'm queer. I'm in a cisgendered relationship. Like I'm always going to mess up on those things. I'm always going to have my own internal racism and weeds I'm going to have to pull. And Garcia is one of those people who's so imperfect, but she's so lovable. And I know that because of how many people come up to me and say, she's like me, or I just love you. And like, I live inside my body and I play her, and I have a really hard time with myself a lot of the time. So so I know she must be lovable, and she's so imperfect. So yeah, I like that. She is not, she is a, she cannot exist in a authoritarian government, which is hilarious because she currently is on a network that is playing in the same sandbox as the people that are making the shit show in the country I live in. And it's kind of weird and wonderful. Like, so I just talked for 15 minutes. I'm sorry.
No, no, never apologize for that. That's fantastic. There were so many things that you said and I resonated with, and I was like, yes, people need to hear that and get that, and that is so it. But I guess it's kind of like one of those Venn diagrams. You've got the Kirsten circle and you've got the Penelope circle, and there's such an area that crosses over in the middle, but then there's also these each, defined roles of who you are and who Penelope is. And it's really awesome to hear you describe the things that you guys have in common and the relationship that you have with that character, because again, 19 seasons, that's a long time to be, embodying this person. And so to hear you talk about the connection that you have with her as a character and you as you is really amazing. And the amount of crossover between the two of you is beautiful to hear you express that. It's really cool.
And thank you. And she is such if you've not seen the show, and I'm not I'm not trying to say because of me, it's like the way it's written, the permission that the writers give me to massage those lines. Like just today, literally right before I sat down, I had walked to do something called ADR. That's additional addition. It's recording. It's like when they realize like, oh, we have to add this line into this scene. It's not there. Or like there's dead air in this scary part. We need someone to take a deep breath. And it's your voice. So you go in and you do ADR. So I was at Paramount doing it, and they put the show on a big screen, and you're reading off the lines. And wait, there's a point to this. Oh, it made so much sense. We were talking about Garcia, and we were talking about her. Oh, I'm gonna find it, Gemma. I'm gonna find it. This is dead air. You're gonna have to cut out.
No, it's good. No, it's good. Good. We like dead
air. I'm gonna try.
It's the connection.
Oh, that's what it was. I remember. So there was a part where, and it was like one of those, it's a tense show. So there's a part where I'm typing, because I do a lot of that on the show, and I'm typing, and they go, oh, here's the line that we need you to say. They added a line, and it was like, okay, it's clear. Go, go, go. And so I did it, and I did it again. And then they tried it a different way. And they were like, oh, we don't, and then they were kind of talking about like how they were going to add these lines of the agents running in. They're like, oh, they're going to sound like this. Maybe we need something different. And I said, oh, can I try something? And they said, yeah. I didn't know what I was going to say, but I've been doing her so long that I was like, can we try something? And they're like, yeah. And they just start recording the thing. And I got the thing on, and the line was supposed to be go, go, go. And what comes out of my mouth is fly, friends, fly. That is because I go in my body and go, where's Garcia? Oh, Garcia says this. And the writers let me do that. So you have the writers who let me do that. I get to wear all these cool outfits. I get to, these people make this incredible. So she's so cool. So when you play a character that is that cool, and I have seen, there's characters I love on shows, that I'm like, oh my God. And that I might play one of those. You feel such a responsibility. And so I have to keep myself as cool as that. The idea that is what makes me cool. No, that is absolutely not true. That is people imbibing things that they love about themselves onto this character. That makes it cool. So that's what I love. And then out in the world, what I have to go do is out in the world, I have to do totally different things. So I'm making sure that like I write, I wrote a fringe play about online dating, and I made an animated short about sexual trauma. And I right now, I just came back from London, and I played our current president of the United States. But in the show, I fell in love with a pig and had very vigorous sex with him, which made me nice and then mean once the pig died. But my point is, that's not what Penelope would do, but it's certainly what one of Penelope's friends would do. And it also keeps me interested in life so that I can go do this instead of like, oh, that's the one thing I'm doing. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that's that middle ground of the that middle part of that Venn diagram. It's like this is me doing all of this over here, and that's her. Like it keeps me differentiated from her. So I don't ever feel like when people are like, oh my gosh, I love whatever. I'm not like bored by it. I'm excited because I'm like, oh, that's cool. You like that too. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
I
Yeah,
don't mean to sound like, I hope I didn't sound like a fathead. I'm just trying to say like I just try to do a bunch of different things because I never want to take it for granted that I get to play her.
yeah. No, no, 100%. And I think the balance that you have to have in order to know that like this is who you are and how you function and how you want to interact with the world and what you want to represent and the person that you want to be and grow into, and being able to distinguish that from the character that you play, but also having that deep understanding and that core knowledge, and you can hear it in how passionate you are in the way that you speak about her, in that you are her protector. Like you also, you know, you develop and create this character who clearly means so much to you. And yeah, that middle of the Venn diagram to be able to go, these are the parts from me that influence the parts of her, and these are the parts of her that influence the parts of me. And it's really
Yeah.
like this symbiotic relationship, really,
Yeah.
in the way
Oh
that
yeah.
100%. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I'm her guardian.
Yeah.
I'm her guardian, but like she doesn't belong to me. Like I probably know her more, but than most people, but I don't know. Like I'm like, if someone is in their living room watching and they've decided whatever they've decided, then they know her more. You know what I mean? Because that's for them. And a lot of times the writers will write some line or something, and I'll be like, oh, that's new information. You know what I mean? And you're like, sometimes it's even information you're like, I don't want to like that or do that or whatever. But then you're like, well, that's just part of her. You know what I mean? And that's it.
With the reboot, because especially in the reboot, I feel like they've given Penelope a lot more backstory, more. I mean, I know you've had a few flashback things as well in the original, but as the spin off
Yeah.
evolution, you've had a lot more. I guess there's been a lot of personal growth. Like Penelope has experienced so much in that, and it's been amazing to watch. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Like it's been amazing. Spoiler alert! It's been amazing to watch her character grow and embrace new things. And yeah, what you mentioned before, her having to leave a job that she thought was more, I guess, comfortable or safe for
Yeah.
her. And she talks about,
Yeah.
you know, that energy and needing to come back and that whole process. How has it been for you in order to then jump into that and experience all that growth and change? And like you've just mentioned, surely there are things that happen and you're like, oh, I don't know if I feel that way about her because you are her protector. Are there
Yeah.
times and moments in all of this growth where you've been like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that, or I don't know how um, Kirsten feels about moving forward with this for Penelope?
It's pretty organic, and what's cool is that I think that she has changed a lot. She has gotten braver. I remember when the show ended, I had a lot of mm, dread, I think, just like what happens now? Like what do I do? And then the pandemic happened. And I mean, I knew I was going to be okay. I wasn't like, I've never made money. I didn't make any money before Criminal Minds. And so it was like, oh, okay, I'll survive. I'll be fine. You know what I mean? But I didn't know if I was going to work again or anything like that. I certainly didn't know if I was work on this job. And I remember I used to be much more, I don't careful or something. And I started to be less less guard, less armored, I think is the word I want to use. Less armored, more like um I went through a lot of changes as a person. We have these moments, and I think we have them all the time. I think we have them every age. I don't think that there's a point where you don't have them. I think we get these little opportunities, but they show up as like cracks. They show up and they're so painful. And we have these choices when those cracks happen to be like, do I cry about it? Do I pretend like it's not there? Or do I just crack? You know, do I just crack and let all the goo that's in there come out and see what's left? And I think a lot of times for me anyway, it's those when I was going through that kind of change in myself of like reckoning with different thoughts and beliefs and stuff I had when I was doing that, um, I was I was very like I started to, it was like during the pandemic, I started to like make things like on my Instagram and stuff because I was like, well, I have to make something. And then I was like, I can't do that because that's just too exposed. And what are you doing? And what if no one sees it? And what da, 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 da. And then it was like I was kind of going through this, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You still have to do it. And I think that like practicing that and going through the dread of like, no one's going to like this thing. Like I started a YouTube show called Kirsten's Agenda that was about art and self-actualization. And I'm quite proud of it. I keep like saying to myself, like, I'm going to do it again. With whenever I decide I'm going to do it again. But I highly recommend visiting the, at least the last season, maybe the last two. That it was, I was quite pleased with it. But it was like, I got to rumble with the dread of trying out a new thing and I also like stopped dating people that I stopped dating the same person. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, I have to either choose to never date anybody ever again or date people that are are running the same as at least as clean of energy as me, at least that. And I came to these I think the one thing that really like I was like that is, and I was when I was doing Kirsten's Agenda, it was like one of those things that I think like that is, I'm sorry it's taking me this long to get to this point, but like that was the thing about I learned was like I used to think that if you get a project or a person around and something and you are somehow doing a quote unquote better job than them, let's say you're able to be more forgiving, let's say you're more flexible than they are in the relationship or the art or whatever, I used to think that I should be with people and I should flood them with love or a job or whatever. I should flood things with all of the stuff that I have to offer. And if they aren't reciprocating, right, they will eventually realize, like, wow, she's fantastic. Look at all this creativity or love or attention that this person is pouring on me. And what I came to the conclusion of was that if someone or some job or something's aperture is smaller than you're shooting your fire hose of energy at them and they can't take it in. Not only can they take it in, they don't even know. They don't even receive it. So it's just like a waste of everybody's time. And I'm not trying to say like high or low, or I'm not trying to say anything like that. But I came to this conclusion and I was like, oh my God, I've been shooting this energy at things. And it caused me to like, wait a minute, that energy's mine. That energy's mine. I have all that. Why am I shooting it all over all these things instead of like paying attention to, why am I giving it away in this sort of way? And I think that changed like a lot for me. It made me go like, what am I? And it made me go back to acting class. It made me interface with characters differently. When things happened just in silences, which then when you're doing a scene and you're interfacing with, like, you hear a line being said to you, and before that other Garcia would be like, oh, of course, or oh, thank you. but now there's more that she knows. There's a bigger library inside of me that she can draw from. It's like, hey, wait, that's not, and I'm having a whole new feeling, which is then when they're cutting it, when they watch that cut, it's then informing the writers to go like, oh, we're going to add that thing, or we're going to add that thing. So it's this cool, that's what I mean by it's organic. That took me a long time to get out. I'm sorry.
No, that's really
I'm going to
interesting.
stop apologizing and say thank you for listening to me so attentively. That's probably why I'm talking so much.
And that's all for our bonus episode with Kirsten Vangsness. Part 1 may be done, but don't fear, Part 2 is not far away. For all the updates on when Part 2 drops, follow me at Gemma Watches Stuff. And if you want behind the scenes stuff, unseen parts of this interview and Kirsten's Q&A, you can subscribe at patreon.com/Gemma Watches Stuff. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for being here. I'll see you all in Part 2.